All right, this is Colby, like the cheese. I'm 33. I'm based out of Fort Worth, Texas, and this is Financial Audit.
Thanks for coming down to Austin. What do you do in Fort Worth for a living?
I'm a machinist.
Okay, very cool. What do you bring in with that on a yearly basis?
About 55,000, between 50, 55, depending on overtime, things like that.
Now, I know from just the brief conversation we had before this, we're in a marriage situation, but the finances are not fully intertwined, but we do probably have a household income. What is the overall household income, or is that the only income?
Household income, I would say, truthfully, it kind of varies. At this point, we haven't been together long enough with a steady income to really make that basis.
How long have you guys been together?
We've been together for about 4 years.
Oh, okay. But the income is
getting married and then having a baby and COVID, it really hasn't been a steady, solid situation. Because at one point she was shut down. I was still working because I was, considered essential. It was. Sure. I was considered essential. So I was still working. So that steady income was there, but hers wasn't. And then we got married. Then before we know it, we're pregnant. And then now there's a baby here. Yeah. So now it's about time to start getting back to it. But at this point, we're kind of just planning on my income, taking it over, and then whatever we can do to alleviate some of that and maybe speed this process up along the way, we'll add that back in.
What do you think the household income is?
If I had to say, I mean, we could say safely maybe 100,000 total.
So it doubles.
Maybe 55. That's like
55 is you, then another 45.
Maybe so.
Very good.
That's if she's going back. But.
Well, I mean, doubling an income, regardless of whatever that number is an immediate increase. I mean, that's fantastic.
Sure.
So $100,000. Cool. So post-tax income for the household, probably like $75,000. Now there's a child tax deduction you can do and different things.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. She was born in January.
I know, yeah. So yeah. But I'm
this point,
looking forward, though.
Self-employment taxes are technically killing both of us.
Yes, I bet. Ridiculous. You're a contractor. Okay.
No, well, I'm not. My taxes just end up going a lot towards self-employment tax, with hers on things we pay.
You mean just the money you have? Okay.
Yeah, just in general.
Gotcha. So maybe we're looking at more like $70,000 a year because that self-employment tax does suck. So, well, tell me if this feels about right then. $5,800 a month?
I'd say so. Maybe. I don't know. I guess I tend to try to shoot towards the lesser sides of things. I've always done that in my life. I try to shoot.
Well, it feels right. What do you think you guys have at the end of a month in terms of money coming in after money set aside for taxes and everything? I mean,
I'd say 45, maybe 25. That's what if I were trying to say that estimate myself, I believe I'd say 45, 25.
Okay.
And if I had something extra than that, then I'm lucky, but I prefer to shoot on the lower side, being that some of it's unknown. She works for herself. She's, there's things that customers cancel. There's not always a set thing. So that's where it's I tend to shoot on the lower side of things and then try to end up with extra.
So you said it's like chaos and stuff. What is this financial situation? Walk us through it. What are we looking at today?
Nothing. I have a steady job. I do, I have a career that I've been at with 6 years with a, steady income. It's just really about us combining now with a child and trying to be more financially stable in the long run, and also trying to be in a point where we can have some fun now too, in a responsible manner.
Sure.
I'm not a very good budgeter. I can budget. The thing is, I pigeonhole money away. Like I get cash, whether I sell something, I've had several motorcycles and things, sold those off, instruments. I'm a musician, I sell those, I keep money and I will save that and then end up buying things with that, or
what about like today's debts and stuff?
Today's debts, I just try to pay them off with my credit card. I mean, I use my credit card, pay them off with my normal income, and then some of the cash that I've pigeonholed, I've put towards that. Like alone this trip, I put it on my credit card, but the money was also, I actually have saved this money since we got married that we're going to use for fun. This is becoming a fun trip. We are staying here for a few days. Very cool. At this point, I'm using that money to cover this expense that I've been sitting on for several years.
How much money is left after the trip in that bucket that you have?
That little fund. I mean, that was literally just like a one gift from our wedding. That was $500 gift.
So that's going to be gone.
Yes, from that one will.
So, but there are debts though, well, at least from the email that I received, and I don't know if I have statements on them fully, but what do your debts look like today?
I have my credit card that I
But you pay that off every month though?
No, I have one credit card that I don't. That's my Chase card.
What's the balance on that?
That at this point is just over 2,000.
Where do you think your score is today then, 0 out of 10?
I'd say my financial score would probably be a 5. Okay. I know that I'm not in the best position, but at the same time, I do feel like I have some relatively healthy habits and some unhealthy habits that are being shaped into more healthy habits.
And didn't you say you had like a window debt of some kind or something like that?
We just purchased windows for our house, and we financed those out, which that's part of the things that I guess why she's here for certain questions. Like at one point we remodeled our house. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I covered a lot of it. And then at one point she covered the appliances. So she paid the appliance bill. This is something like that we're believing that she's probably going to take care of. So that's kind of why I was asking. We're kind of planning on trying to take care of the household myself with my income and my financial situation, and hers be added into it later on just to help out.
That might be making it more complex than it needs to be, but we can definitely talk about that. Yeah. What's owed on these windows?
We just purchased them. It's $11,500.
Okay. $11,500.
Which is, I know it sounds crazy, but it was definitely a good investment for the house.
Why?
Being in Texas with the AC, you could actually feel the heat radiating through my old house.
Do you think the financing of it made sense though? What's the interest?
I do. That's 9%. It is.
Oh.
So this is where we have certain plans on things that my family's done things to pay off things. Like at that point, we were going to apply for a 0% credit card, pay that off with a credit card, and then just pay the payments that we want to on that credit card.
Was that what you're going to do?
That was our plan. Yeah, we haven't done it yet.
What's your credit score?
My credit score is 821.
821.
Yes.
Wow, very good.
Yes.
Okay, then
so
that
I use.
Then that's a play. But why didn't you just buy them with a 0% credit card?
Because I don't have that one yet.
Why did you get it?
Well, because we had time. I haven't even had to start making the payments on the windows yet.
Yeah. What's the minimum monthly payment on those windows?
$164.
Cool. What's the interest on the Chase?
The interest on Chase, I'm sorry, I don't know. I'll have to see it. I believe it's 25 on my. I'll have to see.
If you can go get a 0% interest credit card, if that's how you prefer to go about it, why are we sitting on 25% interest death?
Because this is actually part of the problem. I want to be able to use this credit card in the way that you talk about on your podcast.
Being a good credit card person?
And I'm pretty good about that on most of everything else. Mm-hmm. This one credit card in the past few years is the only thing that I've ever let get like that.
All it takes is one, though, to not be a credit card person.
That's why I've got it paid back down from $6,000 to now $2,000.
That's good.
And plus I have, I can make these payments. It's just about also budgeting is another reason why I'm here.
Yeah. What's gonna prevent it going from, take it to $2,000 to $1,000 back up to $6,000 though again?
Just a little bit more discipline. That was what it took.
Well, how'd you get there in the first place though? Why are we there now?
I was just making some irresponsible choices. Too many of them at once. Some of them were larger, and some of them are things that you can't use cash for anymore. There's certain things that she gets paid in cash. Like I say, I try to keep cash around. My family gives me cash for birthday or whatever. I try to keep that.
But what prevented you from paying off the card when you purchased those things immediately then? I'm just trying to figure out the root cause that got us into the $6,000, which you got down to $2,000, which is awesome. Right. Very happy about. But what got us there to prevent us from doing it in the future? Because none of this conversation matters if we go there again?
No, honestly, it's just about maintenance of a mental state. There's just irresponsible decisions that you make, especially whenever you're having a child. It was just kind of a whirlwind, man.
What were some of the decisions that equaled up to $6,000? What were some of the irresponsible purchases?
I mean, relative, some of them can be groceries. The thing is, it's more about discipline on certain things, man. We tend to go out and eat a lot. That's one thing that our family falls back on for, relatively good times. So money can be wasted on going out to eat. Mm-hmm. Yet we also try to make plans to eat at home. The problem is sometimes those plans fall through.
Yeah.
Those are the decisions that I know I've made in the past that got me into a relatively irresponsible decision. But that, as far as that got, $6,000 was like, that's the part where it's like, I was itching, like, this is ridiculous. And that's the part where it's like, okay, I know I got up there, but at the same time, like, I had a relatively easy situation to get it out. I just wasn't doing it correctly. Does that make sense? I was making too many irresponsible decisions and not using my resources correctly to get to finance those decisions.
Okay.
It's gotten a little bit better about that. I've just tried to be a little bit more disciplined. Things have gotten a little bit easier with the situation, calmed down.
Sure.
And
then more stuff. The car. Isn't there a car?
Yes, I do I have a truck. I have a truck payment.
Okay. What is this balance left on this?
$39,000.
That's a lot of money.
It is. That is one of my I feel like, honestly, that's a mistake that I made, but it was kind of a weird situation.
Yeah.
So we got in a wreck the Tuesday before Thanksgiving in a truck that I loved, and I had a great, only had 2 years left to pay on it. Was awesome. And then in the middle of having my child in the hospital, they called me and said, hey, guess what? We're actually not fixing this. It's totaled. And I only had a week and a half left in my rental. So we went looking for a new one, and I overpaid for what I got. It just was it was a good deal for the truck that I got. It's just, at the time, I mean, it was a very stressful time. I literally just had a child trying to find a truck. And I do need a truck because we do pull some trailers and things. Not too much. I didn't have to have anything.
You're one of the rare few that has a truck and actually needs the truck.
Yes, and I honestly, it's a little bit bougie. I will say.
Okay.
I enjoy.
You went overboard on what you needed.
I also do have another plan for that as well. I would like to sell that back in a few years and semi-downgrade, because I'll keep it nice. It has very low miles. I'll keep it nice and clean and sell it back and get something maybe a year or two a little bit older with a different engine that I prefer. Mm-hmm. That's more simple. That just
what's the minimum monthly payment on this for now, though?
That's $625. It's a high payment. Yes, I hate it.
Term length?
7 years. I made it go so I could get my payment down.
My dude.
I know, man.
What's the interest rate?
7%, almost 6.75, I believe.
And with depreciation and everything, that may as well be like 10%.
I know.
Oh, that stupid 7 years. Okay. Any other debts?
I don't believe so.
What about household debts?
Well, we have a medical debt.
How much?
From the child. That's what we're trying to find out, truthfully, with insurance.
We don't know. We don't know yet. It hasn't been fully.
Yeah, because there's benefits through my job. There's, I'll have to end up paying certain amounts for my deductible. Certain amounts of the deductible are covered. It's kind of a crapshoot through insurance.
Ooh, do you have an estimate of what you might think it might land?
I'm going to have to pay probably about $10,000, but $6,000 of that should be given back to me. That's part of the benefits. So about $4,000.
Kill me. Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
Our insurance is amazing.
Household debts? Like from your wife? Any other debts?
She has her vehicle that she pays for.
What is it?
Kia Soul.
Well, what's the debt?
I don't know.
24 left on it?
Yeah.
24,000?
No. Sorry. 2,400.
Oh, 2,400. What's your minimum monthly payment?
$331.
Interest rate?
I think I got it at like an
8%. 8% with a $331 minimum monthly payment. Now it's almost done, so most of it's going towards principal anyway.
Right.
Any other household debt? Because everything is combined now.
Just our house.
Right.
But
the house. That's right.
Otherwise,
which is you guys got a cheap house or you put a ton of money down?
Cheap house, man. I bought it at a good time. I paid a good price for it. I got really lucky.
Yeah, you did.
Yes.
It's like $54,000 left or something like that. 50,000
should be a little less than that. I don't know. Honestly,
I gotta find it.
I bought it at 70,000. I refinanced it a few years later. I had a 40-year note at first. Refinanced it to a 15-year.
You
note.
did a 40-year? Here, we got to get you into the
Sorry,
microphone.
man. I
it's
apologize.
okay.
I'm slouching.
It's
you
easy for people to get off track,
man. No, yeah. So when I first bought it, I was 23. I bought it at 40-year note. Yes.
Wow.
And so I refinanced it a few years later to a 15-year note. So my mortgage was $750. I refinanced it. My mortgage went up to $770. But the thing is I always have paid at least $800, if not $850, to cover escrow and things like that.
Right, that makes sense.
So I pay it off a little bit earlier than what it's supposed to be.
So what was the purchase price of this house?
$70,000.
And we have $52,000 left on it with a $798 minimum monthly payment, and the interest rate. I bet you refinanced at a great rate, didn't you?
I did. I got lucky.
I'm having trouble finding the interest rate. Do you know it off the top of your head?
I'm sorry, I don't. Those are some of the things that
It's probably what, 3, 4, something like that.
I apologize. I don't want to lie to you. I know it's honestly a good rate. I did it at a good time. The only thing I didn't necessarily purchase at the great time was that truck.
That's okay. Now let's check the value of this thing. Your address will not be. This is getting cut vocally.
Oh, I did get an appraisal. I know the relatively recent.
Oh, you got an appraisal. When did you get the appraisal?
At the beginning of this year, came through.
Oh, what was it?
Stuff. It appraised for $223,000.
Well, even with your debts, your net worth is positive because of that. So that's great. So good job.
It should be worth a little bit more, maybe potentially. I don't know.
Beginning of the year, I mean, we definitely kind of had a bit of a dippage, and at least in Austin, we flatlined, started to go back up a little. But I don't know about in your area. But
there's a few things I've done to it. I feel like should increase the value, like remodel the kitchen, remodel some bathrooms, now the windows. A few things. I'm like, okay, maybe if it's the dip, it's about even with that, I believe.
Okay, cool. Now, let's get through your cards. We have an ExxonMobil card.
Yes.
You pay off these cards.
Yes. Most of them.
Most of them, except for that stupid death one at stupid 25%. Stupid. $365 of purchases on this thing, and it's just gas. You spend a lot on gas.
I do.
Oh, and wash and wax.
Oh, that's sometimes I buy the car wash with it. It saves a couple pennies with it.
I always wondered who did those.
I do every once in a while. I give them to her.
Do you want the statement back?
No.
Okay.
I just brought that for you on here.
Well, at least now we know your gas is going to be $365.
Yeah.
Put that in the budget in the future.
About that.
Well, I'm sure there's more as a household because we're using both of your incomes.
That as well.
So same card for both?
Right.
Very cool.
Yes. She doesn't drive very much at all. She drives the Kia Soul, and let's just save you the gas as well. And we know how much we use as a household.
Freedom card. So this is...
Yes, that's the Chase card.
The Chase card?
Yes, that's the only one. Well, I have a Chase credit card. That's it.
But this is the one that you're holding the balance on?
Yes.
Or is this the one that... I'm a bit confused because you paid it off.
No.
But then you put two... No. Okay, no. What I see was the beginning balance, $5,929, and you paid $5,950. Then you made purchases of $2,000.
I should have got it down to just $1,000, and then I've now made a purchase of just over $1,000.
That is not what I'm seeing on the statement, my dude. And then we lost $20 of interest with a new balance of $2,000. Let's see. So we're going here, and we know we have a card that we're trying to pay off, and this conversation has been relatively positive so far, but then you're going to kill me. You're going to absolutely murder me right now with Taco Bell, and some King thing, and Big Daddy, and Chipotle, and the King thing, and Texas Brazil, and Gnome Fairy Pottery.
Yes, that's a gift.
Bad Badger. Yeah, gift yourself not having interest rate payments. Right. And Scarborough Fair, and Taco Bell, and Tommy's Express, and the best hot dog. Was it the best hot dog?
Yes.
And a liquor shop, very necessary when we're trying to pay off that. Come on,
yes.
Fish City Grill and Fort Worth Zoo.
Well, honestly, this is what I'm trying to. This is a part of it.
$600 loss in interest this year so far.
Well, I do understand. This is a part of where I'm trying to get to be able to use my credit card as well. You know, there's going to be purchases on it that I want to be able to pay off at the end of the month.
This is why the one credit debit card I've partnered with is the Fizz card, because it just works in a good way to help people that are less disciplined to be more disciplined, because yes, you charge it on the credit card, but what it does is it automatically pays it off with the debit card the moment you purchase it. So it's a perfect way to help build credit. I mean, you don't need to build credit. You have awesome credit.
Right.
Because they love you in your debt. Yeah. Also, you should hit subscribe. I forgot to mention that already. So if you forgive me for forgetting to mention it this late in the video, you should definitely hit the subscribe. We're trying to get to 750,000 subscribers.
Definitely.
I
helped you get to 500. That's for sure.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, bud. I appreciate it. Hey, man, I honestly want to say that I do know that some of these are irresponsible decisions, and those are the things that I'm trying to tighten down and also, you know, be able to use this in the right way. You know, there are certain things on here that, yes, of course, you don't want to see on there to be debt, but they are going to be purchases of the month, you know, every once in a while. You know, a liquor store is not everything that you're going to see every month, but every once in a while, that's what I'm going to use it for.
No. Okay, but when we have a balance we're trying to pay off, why is the liquor store, why is the best hot dog in the world more important than getting rid of something that's taking money from you through interest?
Because those are things that I haven't been able to pay this off to use for yet. You know, like say I had no balance, okay? Now I use this credit card for this best hot dog. Then at the end of the month, I pay that balance off. There's no interest. You know,
but that's not where you are, though.
Well, that's where I'm trying to get to. I know that I'm not.
But in order to get there, you don't do that while you're trying to get there, right?
You should see the statements from before. You know,
okay.
That's where I'm talking about. I know that there are some irresponsible decisions.
If a serial killer only murdered one person this month instead of two, I'm not going to give him a handshake and a slap on the back.
You know, that's a different when you have a credit score of 820 and you
that's good. Card. We can celebrate
that's
that.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but
I understand
the credit score rewards a lot of debts, right?
Right. I understand.
So if you want to get to the point where you're trying to get to, and I want you to be a credit card person. Credit card's fun. I love it.
But what's wrong with using that credit card like that? That's what I'm wondering.
Because you have the balance that you're losing interest on.
Well, once that payment.
Yes, but you're not there right now. That's the difference.
Well, there's also a plan to get there. Like,
you have plans for everything. I'm hearing. So what's the plan for this? What's the plan for this?
There's certain cash that I have alleviated to go towards this that I'm trying to pay off.
What's the cash?
Like, let alone that $500 payment that's cash just from fun. Like, that was specifically for fun, and $500 of this balance is for that.
On this balance, we didn't have the Austin stuff on here yet, and the $500 is supposed to go to paying for what you're doing these next few days.
Right. Well, that's supposed to go towards the hotel. I stayed at the hotel.
Okay, so that's not going to the $2,000 though. That's going to what the more you're spending.
Well, that's what I already paid for the hotel.
Okay, I want to make sure we are on the same page. The reason it's not okay to do this now is because you have a multi-$1,000 balance that you're losing interest rate of $600 this year so far. Right. We're only halfway through the year. If we are losing $600 on it, it doesn't make sense to be doing that spending now because it's making it slower to get to the point where you don't have a balance. Once you get to a point where you're always paying off the balance, that's fine. But even still, is that the best thing we want to be doing in a situation where we have a disgusting car debt, a disgusting truck debt, a Windows thing that we're trying to pay off, and some medical debts that we don't know that we're going to have? Do you have $4,000 just ready to pay that?
I believe so.
I think you do too. But in that situation where you have those other debts, does it make sense to be going to Chipotle and all that stuff? I don't think so.
Sometimes, man. That's the thing is when you have a child, there's certain times that it is. And that's where I've said
that kid does not eat Chipotle.
You would not believe it.
6 months old? I was going to say.
No, but that's where I'm saying that there's some is the discipline that I'm trying to get better at. And I do understand that some of these should not be made, but it's the trying to meet in the middle of that. You know, I'm not... That's the thing.
Why does there have to be a middle ground between doing really good and really bad? I would rather just do really good.
There's an honest part about myself that knows, look, if I were to smoke cigarettes, I couldn't quit cold turkey. I need to alleviate and slow down. I don't smoke cigarettes, but this is the same thing.
That kind of sounds like excuses,
it's relatively, it can be. The thing is I'm making excuses and getting it done at the same time.
Glizzies or interest? Glizzies or interest?
It depends. You know, that's where I try. There's a certain amount. Where am I going to purchase from otherwise when I'm not? You know, I plan on transferring.
Why do you have to purchase somewhere?
I mean, I have to buy things. You know,
you don't have to buy these things.
Not all of them, but certain. You know, there's a lot of things on here that are good purchases as well.
Yes, but I didn't name them. I wasn't upset about them.
No.
Well, the only ones I talked about were the ones that are bad. There's nothing on here that would be bad. So the majority are pink lines, and the pink lines are bullshit. They were not necessary spending. You don't have to spend that. No, I'm good with going to Lowe's. You probably had to go to Lowe's. The Austin and the doing Walmart, that's usually a grocery store, and HEB, that's okay. Parking lot, unfortunately we have to pay for parking, but our country is designed around cars. And Walgreens and HEB, I didn't complain about those. No. But the other ones are stupid and unnecessary right now.
That's where I feel like there are some of them that look like that you said are stupid, like Gnome and Fairy. Those are something that was I had to purchase with the credit card because the full cash amount wasn't there. What am I going to purchase with when I'm out in Scarborough Fair?
Dude, if you don't have the full cash amount, you can't afford it.
I mean, but just because I don't carry it with me doesn't mean I don't have it.
Oh, you mean, no, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Wait, did you not have a debit card?
I do. I haven't. This is where I'm trying to shape. This is where, like, I understand that I don't make the best decisions. I'm trying to shape them. That's where I don't necessarily want to be put down for the previous decisions.
I'm not
trying
putting
to shape
you
them
down, but I am trying to call out what's bullshit and what you don't need to do.
Well, I don't feel like I'm necessarily disagreeing with you that all of it's bullshit. I just disagree with you that not all of it has to be there. There's going to be a certain amount of bullshit that happens in life. And I feel like that's where a safety net comes. That's where, hey, 30% of your fund. Okay, well, maybe you don't spend all of your 30% on your fund.
No, that's fine. But that's when you're out of bad debt. You're not out of bad debt.
I mean, I don't feel like a ton of my debt is horrible,
No, there's okay debts, and we can talk about those, but you do have some bad debts. I feel you're trying to jump steps. You're trying to get to the point where you're able to follow the 50-30-20.
Well, honestly, I just feel like this $2,000 is relatively small comparatively to what I'm trying to pay off. In the beginning of this year, it was over $6,000. I just had to actually take the chunks out and pay it.
No, but why not have the $2,000 be $0?
That's what I'm working on. You're just in the middle of it. Right?
But you're not working on it as hard as you should be, because we're doing, again, Taco Bell, King, Big Daddy, Chipotle, King, Texas, the Grill, and Gnome, and Bad Badger, and Scarborough Fair, and Taco Bell, and Tommy Express, and Best Hot Dog, Liquor Store, Fish City Grill, and the zoo.
Not allowed to go to the zoo.
It's not about not being able to go to the zoo. It's about priorities. You are prioritizing fun over just getting to a situation where your life is better for the future.
I don't feel like I'm prioritizing fun. I feel like it is involved with it.
You chose by swiping the card. You prioritized fun.
That's not a priority. I mean, I feel like.
But you chose it.
If I can make the payment, I don't feel like it's full of priority. If I can't make the payment,
why is interest accruing on it then? If you can fully make the payment, why is interest accruing on it?
I feel like I over prioritized too many things before. I feel like some of this is going to be normal stuff that is mixed in. That's why I'm trying to actually figure this out with you. And a lot of this is without, a certain part of income that we don't include. You know what I mean? Like some of this is food and things like this for us. Some of this was honestly just good morale for different parts of work, like Big Daddy's Donuts, and I know that doesn't sound, that's like, why are you spending $30 at donuts? Well, because I'm trying to take and help boost morale at work on some things, and I don't necessarily.
Why don't you boost the morale of your future instead, though?
Because that is my future. I work there. And if I'm unpleasant there, then I have no future.
You need donuts to work?
Not necessarily, but I need to feel pleasant. And that's where part of this is that,
That's a cope. Yes, that's a hard cope.
Yes, there's a lot of people cope with a lot of things. You talk to a lot of people about going to vape shops, going to this, going to that. A lot of mine is unnecessary food, which I discussed in the beginning.
Yeah.
I said that. That's a part of our coping that my family does, that we spend time together doing food.
Yeah.
Fish City Grill, going to the zoo, going to these things. Yes, they are coping mechanisms, but I'm also spending time with my family doing it.
No, of course, but we can have lots of...
I understand that it's relatively irresponsible to pay a certain amount of interest for that fund. And I'm working on that. I just, I feel like there's certain amounts of these that, yes, they'll slow down. And I'm trying to not go to Chipotle. We're going to HEB and we're trying to plan out meals better, freeze this meat and use it later on in the week. Sometimes I fail at that. And that's where these pink things are involved. But you can't discredit somebody for being better as well. There's certain parts of this
I'm not trying to shame you for that or anything, but we're living on two different planets when we're just determining what is good in this situation. I want you guys to spend time together. We can do that in parks and picnics. The same meal that you would eat for dinner, we can pack up and we can take to a park and stuff. Like, it doesn't have to be Chipotle. It doesn't have to be a zoo. But you did hit something that was very important that I'm glad you acknowledged, that it's a cope, fundamentally a cope. What I would rather deal with that in a mental health way in something other than these avenues that are digging us, preventing us from fully digging out of the hole as quick as we should have.
Right. That's where I feel like that's part of my learning process. Another reason why I'm here. I understand that it's hard to get out of that as fast as I could, but doesn't mean I'm not doing it. You can't, that's a part of, I guess, of positive reinforcement that I'm better at than negative reinforcement.
Well,
saying, you're never going to make it if you're going slow. Well, if I'm going slow, that means I'm still not going to make it. At the beginning of this year, I had over $6,000 on that card. Now I've got $2,000 with several, payments in plan. Of course it sucks to get rid of some of the cash that I've pigeonholed away for fun, but I've already had the fun. So now I'll get rid of it. I'll make the payment and then I'll be happy Mr. Caleb credit card guy. You know what I mean?
I hope. We'll see. It's not living there right now, but we're talking in circles. So right. I'm going to move forward to, there's not another credit card, right? We talked about the Exxon.
I have
Chase.
I have, Lowe's and a Home Depot card, but I don't use them. Okay. I purchase something on them and then I'll pay that off just to keep the line of credits open.
Yeah. And then, small, like a couple bucks a month or something.
No, I pay them relatively right off.
No, but like the spending, just like a couple bucks a month or like what?
Every few months I might buy something. It's, just enough to keep them from closing out.
Now, checking account, $4,000 in here. This is awesome. Not much happens in here. It's just transferring things back and forth.
Right. This is where all my bills basically get taken right out of that from my checking.
Yeah, for sure. And that's okay. This home equity thing, it says what's in there. Is this like your
independent and ECU were just actually some balances that I kept in different branches that I had.
Okay, so this is a balance that you have access to of 2,000?
Yes, that and ECU.
Okay, so we have $2,165.79 with 0 cents. Okay, sir. yeah. This, I'm glad you have it saved, but come on, let's move this over to my boy. You can put your money where I put my money, SoFi, where you get at least like 4.3% interest and sign up bonuses. If you do this plus the direct deposits, dude, I think you get like up to $250 for free in bonuses. Just moving that over, and then you'd at least be keeping up with where inflation came in last month. And then you're only you're a little under. Well, you're a full point under where they are here at the 3.18%. But I am glad to see we have an additional $2,148 in this one. So this is good. We're getting like $4,500 close to. And then 0.01% and a Chase savings of additional $3,000. Now, does all this money exist or has this gone anywhere else still?
No, that's all there. Those
three accounts.
Yes. The only things that really get used all the time are my Chase credit card, the Exxon for gas, and then my Chase checking, which my bills come out of. Yeah. I don't use a debit card. I don't really, I use a check for my mortgage. So that is a check out of there. But otherwise it's all just, there's no reoccurring, dumb payments, I guess, out of there.
Sure. $25,000 in your retirement account?
A little bit more than that now. I guess that was
like what, 30?
It's like 20. Yeah, about it. 29, I think.
We're
it is.
Definitely a little behind for 33. Not terribly, but a little behind. Well, I am very happy with your situation of the house and the equity that has been built in this house from when you bought it, and then likely getting to a lower interest rate, and then the equity that's in that house now. So that's really good. And then what you have invested in here, similar stuff to what I have invested in general, just split across different small cap, mid cap, large cap, international, and some few bonds as well. So that's all chill. What I would do, we have savings. I mean, this is an easy win to me because you're literally losing money on it. You have $7,338 in savings. I'd pay off the card, $2,000, take that down to $5,000. Now, I would do that. I would do that while you're sitting there, honestly, but you can do what you want to do, but that's what you should do.
Well, I have some cash that I prefer to use that on, and maybe move that somewhere else.
I'm sorry. So
I have some cash that I keep pigeonholed that I would prefer to use to pay off the credit card.
Well, why not just pay it off with the savings and then put the cash back into the savings? It's the same thing,
man. It's just I'm a small town guy, man. Once it's on there digital, I would prefer to move it digital. The cash, I prefer just to take up to the bank to pay on what I'm paying.
Yeah, but you are losing interest on it. So I would rather let's just pay it off today and then just replace it. Or just with the cash, because mathematically it's the same thing in the end. I understand psychologically for you it feels different, and I do respect that and understand that. But
do I lose any more interest by the next payment date? I mean, at this point, it's the next payment date is so close. Instead of just making
there's $2,000 on there, so you will get hit with interest. But you're also losing money by two of these accounts sitting in no interest funds. So I'd at least move them either into the one you had at 3% or SoFi at the 4.3. Link in the description below. And but I would pay it off because again, at the 25% interest rate on there, no matter where that money's being held, if it was in the S&P 500 based on historical results, you're still losing by 15% having the $2,000 on the credit card. So I would absolutely cut that from the savings, drain the one that's like $2,165 with no interest, pay it off, consolidate the savings into one, and then boom, good. How much is in your wife's retirement?
I don't know, man.
35,000.
Okay, so pretty similar, 35,000. So we're behind as a two-person household, but that's okay. We're gonna start amping that up because you're gonna get rid of that credit card. We're gonna follow a budget, and then you guys are gonna live an awesome life in terms of investing. So please just pay that credit card off today, and then replenish. Let's figure out your emergency fund. So. Okay, well.
Oh, we didn't mention anything about my savings bonds. I know those are silly, but.
Oh, well, how much do you have?
About 1,700 in those as well.
Okay, cool.
Some of those, I believe there's a few of them that still actually have to mature. A few of them aren't.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know when they fully mature?
I thought I sent that as well. Not fully. I believe I sent that on the email.
Okay, I could take a look back. Gas $365 in the budget. Then we have with the mortgage $798.
I usually pay over that to cover escrow.
Okay, for sure. Oh wait, that's escrow's not included in that?
I cover more just to make sure I don't owe anything. Sometimes I potentially get some back, and especially with our tax, I prefer to pay it off early if not.
Okay, we're gonna say $798 though. We're just getting minimum monthly payments. Then for the two cars, $625 plus $331, $956. Because this is household, we're doing household. What do you think utilities, internet? So gas, electric, internet. What does that all come out to?
See, it was all included. It should be. Let's see. Well, so internet is one thing that she takes care of as well.
Okay, well now we're gonna get to a better situation where everything's.
So I believe that goes around $220. That's both of our cell phones and internet.
Okay.
That's one that she takes care of, and part of that is for her work phone as well. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so $220 for electricity, gas, and internet.
No, $220 for our phones and internet. Oh. Then gas. I have the statement. Would you mind if I look? It's about the same.
Is it in checking?
It's in yes.
Yeah, we can just look at that for these then.
Yeah, these are all what come out of there every month on that. I can tell you which one they are if you'd like. So let's see. TXU Energy, that's our electricity.
How much is that?
$221, so about $220.
Okay.
Then we have our Atmos Energy, that is our gas. That's $38.82.
Cool. So total of $479 for phone and utilities and internet and stuff like that. Cool. Now, car insurances for both of you.
Yes. I pay every 6 months. And that was actually one big payment out of my, this, I guess it was.
How much?
Last month. It's like $780, I believe it is.
Divided by 6, $130. And then what's your car insurance? Okay, so $253 a month to account for. Okay.
It's on here. It should be on. Or it was on my last statement. I believe it was on my last.
Okay.
Statement on there.
And what other minimum monthly payments do we have to deal with?
Yeah, I have a couple reoccurring things that do end up on my credit card, that you're going to hate.
What?
I have one that is PlayStation Premium that I pay for the year, $60.
Can you get closer to the mic, please?
I pay PlayStation Premium that I pay for the year, $60. I don't play a ton of games, but every once in a while I download free games. I feel like the amount of games that I'll download throughout the year equals out to over $60. I don't buy video games and things like that, really. So I have that. That's $60 a year. And then I do have Vinyl Me Please. That's a record subscription.
Oh.
Vinyl subscription. I do really enjoy that. That's $140 every 3 months.
Oh, okay. In order for you to survive is $2,851 a month. That's what you guys need to survive. Well, actually, no, sorry, we did not do food. We need to put food in the budget. Food in the budget, both of you with the baby and everything like that, we're going to do about $600.
Okay.
No, with the... Yeah, because for food.
Okay.
This is all food. Groceries, all groceries.
Diapers and things.
Diapers, we're doing the next category. Toilet paper, diapers, all that stuff in order to keep the home running. About $300 we'll do because I know diapers can be expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, those baby shower diapers just ran out. Shout out to all those baby shower diaper people.
$3,751 in order to keep life running. Now, that's a very expensive needs. If you say you bring in $4,525 a month, that means your needs category is 82% of your income. That's crazy. If we get rid of the 2 cars, that brings us closer to like 70, 65%. That's good. That's where we need to get to because right now all your money is going to needs. That's why we're behind in retirement because we don't have enough money to put towards retirement. That's why we don't have a fully funded emergency fund because, by the way, a fully funded emergency fund would be $3,751 times that by 6 would be $22,506. What do you have in savings?
I have about I've got about $9,000.
Okay, $9,000. She has $9,000. You have $1,700 because you can pull from the bonds if you need to. We're paying off the card, so I'm getting rid of $2,000 of it. So total is $15,000. So still got to get another $10,000 to have a fully funded emergency fund. You pay off the credit card. What I would do, and this is where I don't think you guys are going to agree with this. I'm going to pull from the $9,000 in savings and going to pay off that $2,400 of cars just because it's good to just have paid for cars in general. We're going to, with the kid, since there's a kid, I want to leave at least a 2-month emergency fund. $7,502 from your now combined savings of $15,000 because this is combined. We should open a joint checking account. All of the money should go in there and then paying for things should go out of there so we can understand what the household budget is. So everything's going into a joint checking account. $15,000. And by the way, may as well do that with your high yield as well for your emergency fund and stuff like that. So $15,000, take out, well, we know the math, but take out $7,502. You have $7,500 left, and you're minusing from $7,500 $2,400 to pay off her car, and then you have $5,000 left. Where does the $5,000 go? With your death, car, stupid $625 payment with the insurance included on top of that, with the expensive gas included on top of that, with it being 7 years of chaos and pain and suffering of that debt, you're putting the $5,000 towards it. And then aggressively on a monthly basis, without her minimum monthly payment, you should have about $2,500 left on a minimum monthly payment. You'll have $34,000 of that car to pay off.
See, I don't plan on having that car for all this. So we're planning on payments of a car that I don't plan on keeping.
That doesn't.
That's the part where...
That doesn't matter because right now you're losing the interest on it and the minimum monthly payments are insane. If we pay off the car and then you end up selling it, you get the money back anyway. So right now we're just choosing the mathematical win.
My truck?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it takes just a year and 2 months to pay off that. That's if you follow my budget. And then you go. I'm having no confidence in this conversation, unfortunately.
Yeah, because there's certain parts of it that I feel like I wish there were a way, I don't know. I wish there was a way to somewhat meet in the middle of it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I feel like there's a part of real life that, there's going to be mistakes that are made. This has to be perfect. Follow this budget perfect. Oh, and I understand there's parts of it that, I don't want to lie to you and say that, yes, I can do that. There's certain parts I always want to, be realistic about. And there's certain things that
the reason I don't like that, and I am going to cut you off, but the reason I don't like that is you're preemptively creating excuses for yourself, which is giving you room to get off track. Let's get on track. We have the emergency fund. If you want to,
trains have breaks.
One second. If you want to use from your food budget a little bit of that going out to eat, that's fine. As long as food, which should be groceries, but as long as food never goes above $600. If $100 of that is eating out on a monthly basis, okay, that is your choice. But in the budget I laid out is the budget that gets you to having a 2-month emergency fund, paying off her car, paying off your car in 14 months, and then building up a fully funded emergency fund and probably an additional, say about 3 to 6 months. And then you guys are in a place of, that's like the baseline. That's where you want to get, like if you think of a chart, like all this is red and bad and all this is green and good, that's you getting in the middle gray of starting financial stability. Have a fully funded emergency fund without bad debts. And mind you, I'm actually good with putting the windows on a 0% credit card and then paying that minimum monthly payment until it's paid off, as long as it never goes to the point where interest is accrued.
See, at this point, we actually wanted to pay that off before even then. Like, I guess a big part of the problem is what I feel like your more of your frustration is there are certain things that I guess that you don't like that are plans that aren't, like let alone I have a motorcycle I'm going to sell, there's certain instruments that I plan on selling that I plan on using that cash to do that. So instead of taking my cash, or her cash or paying certain things off, I have the same plan to pay them off as you do. It's just instead of taking the money I don't touch that I know is safe, I have something else in plan. That's where I guess I feel mixed with it. I had the same plan to try to pay some of this off. I just feel your math is different.
You don't have the same plan. I'm going the extreme plan because after I learned everything I could, and there's always more to learn about personal finances, and I was in a bad place, I went extreme to pay it off. And I want others to, because now I see what it's like on the other side, and it's so much better than elongating things. The extra things that you have to sell, that doesn't change the situation. That doesn't change the plan. What it does is it makes it go quicker, because you would follow the same exact plan, except you would sell those things that you were going to sell anyway and throw it at the debt. But it's still the same plan. That just gets you there quicker. Instead of a year and a half to get a fully funded emergency fund or whatever it might be, maybe it's a year instead because we sold some things. That's awesome.
I guess part of it, man, is I know there's part of it that's a comfortability factor. There's a lot of coping things that you're dealing with. And I feel like I'm trying to take that on. It's just, it's about winning that battle, a little bit slowly, that yes, there's a cost to winning this battle or losing the battle. And I feel like that's where the mixture is. I've lost that battle for a few years and made irresponsible decisions. Yeah. It got me $6,000 deep. That's the most irresponsible. I made a bad decision on a truck, not the most irresponsible decision. I had to buy a truck. I feel like my most irresponsible amounts of decisions only amounted to $6,000 of debt in an amount of time where we went through a pandemic and I had a child. I had a wreck with a vehicle. I did make irresponsible decisions, but I feel like within the past, a certain amount of time, while adding more, I guess things that I have to pay for, with included insurance for a family. It's like within the past 2 years, my insurance payment went from $40 a month to over $200 a paycheck. You know what I mean? So I'm paying then a $200.
I don't see how that impacts our plan, though. I really don't.
Because part of it is trying to figure these things out on mine. That's part of why I really necessarily didn't want to include her with this stuff. We don't necessarily know how heavy she's going to go back to work.
Sure.
That's why I didn't want to include her necessarily.
And we used a more conservative income based on that, because we think it might be 5,000 something, but we used 4,525 after money was set aside for taxes. So I definitely do get that. The reason why I lay out something so stringent and why I don't like the room for excuses and delays is because I want what I believe is best for y'all. And what I believe is best for y'all is being on the other side of the hill as quick as possible. Because any amount of time that is being left, any amount of time that is being taken away from the remainder of your years to be able to save up for retirement is taking away time to take advantage of compound growth. You've already lost the best decade of your life for compound growth. You guys are approaching the middle of the second best decade. The quicker we get to the point where we can start investing more and more and more, the better. With where the interest rate on the cars are and where the interest rate, especially on the Chase credit card, where the interest rate on the windows before refinance on a different credit card are, they don't even come close to beating what the stock market does on average in terms of, the stock market doesn't beat them. So paying them off is a better return. So that's why we do them as quick as possible. And then you start investing things out.
I guess the part
because I want what's best for you.
I apologize. I guess that's the part that I was looking more forward was, maybe it's a little bit more advice to where I could consolidate certain other things to make my money work for me while I worked hard on myself to pay this off on its own. That's, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to try to take care of my debt, my credit card debt.
Yeah.
In its own irresponsible manner. Like, I feel like that was irresponsible money.
Yeah.
The credit card debt. So I wanted to take that onto myself and use that out of my fund money that I gain with whatever I do. I make certain payments as a month, to pay it down there's a normal payment. But there's also things that I wanted to tackle this outside of necessarily what's on paper or in the digital world. Does that make sense?
It does.
It's part of it. Part of it is trying to get past that mentality of what causes this. You know how you speak about that a lot on your podcast. What caused it?
Yes, absolutely.
And I feel like just before here, I've been dealing with before here what has caused it, and I'm working on fixing it.
I recommend therapy for everyone. Take advantage of your health insurance.
Another thing that it's so that's one part of the problems that I'm trying to fix. This is, man, at this point, my deductible is not even covering me. My wife and my baby is gone, and that's going to cost them $6,000 each before I meet it. I'm unhappy with parts of my, I've done.
I should say the plan I said is going to take a little longer because I forgot about the medical bill that will come up. So an additional $4,000 will take care of that.
That's why I didn't want to bring her stuff into it.
But it's important though.
But her savings was a part of it that was going to go towards that outside of my bills.
Okay, but it's no longer hers though. It's ours. So this comes together.
The thing is that all of what we can do to survive, I've been taking care of. At this point, the only thing that she takes care of outside of us to survive, besides her car payment stuff,
I think you're not getting from me the answer that you want. I think you want to hear a certain answer instead of the answer that I'm giving.
Well, what answer do you believe I'm wanting?
I'm not 100% sure. You mentioned the different consolidations and wanting to keep things separate, but we can't give the consolidations. We can definitely talk about that, but we can't give a full, concise picture of what the situation is and what we should do to get out of it if we don't know what it is as a household. If it's just you and just seeing things, just your finances,
right,
then we're putting together a plan that might not even make sense.
Well, that's where there were things I wish that we would have omitted into what we considered mine and what we considered hers. As part of our plan.
Why is it not ours, though? Why is it not ours?
Just because of the plan of how we plan to take care of them.
So you want to do your plan. You want to do your plan.
It's our plan. I wanted you to help me with my part of this stuff.
You wanted me to do your plan.
Potentially,
but okay, which is cool. I'm totally cool with that. But
I guess it's one second. Part of it is confusing is because I feel like this whole household I've taken care of before we were married. Then we married, we never fully combined, and now this is where I'm still taking care of the full household, and I don't want to use her combination of any of the money because we haven't yet. I would like to figure out the budget for me to be able to take care of our household minus a few of her things that she can take care of on her own. There's a few things that are separate that she takes care of on her own. Car payment will be gone soon. So that's a kind of a thing. Like, she does take care of my phone bill that's one of her bills.
It's
hard to explain, I guess.
No, I understand what you're saying.
I'm sorry if it feels like I'm being combative or anything. I'm just trying to figure out the way that works for both of us,
It's not being combative. It's less being open-minded.
Right. Definitely. On both sides, though, I feel like I really would like to try to help to do something that I want to try to do something that is...
Why is personal finance in terms of what... Okay.
There's a big mental part of it, man. Money has been something...
I don't know why you think it has to be a compromise, though. It doesn't. What I lay out here is a plan that I would follow because it's a plan similar to what I followed based on everything I learned about personal finances. A compromise, me giving a compromise outside of that, is me then saying a plan that I would not follow. The one I laid out is the plan I would follow. Saying anything else doesn't make sense to come from me.
Well, I guess there's parts of it that I feel like the compromise are parts of it. You saying, yes, that could potentially be a good idea. And then some of it that might, oh, yes, I agree that's a good idea. Okay. Like with you saying that you agree with me paying off the windows on that credit card.
It can work.
That's where I feel like that's part of our compromise. With me as well, where I talk about the consolidations, I have these bank accounts that have couple thousands of dollars in there sitting doing nothing. That's where I was more talking about maybe consolidating, putting into something else like your SoFi, link in the description. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I just...
Something that can work for people is, boom, sell the car, get something cheaper. Then you could save up and get that in cash. You could do the minimum monthly payments until your card is paid off because it's mostly going to principal. Again, I just think it's safer and better in terms of risk management to just get rid of that depending on the income situation, especially with a more flex income. But that is an option. There is the option of consolidating the Windows and Chase card into a 0% finance and then doing minimum monthly payments until they're paid off and figure out what that minimum monthly payment looks like in order to get to the point where it's paid off before interest is accrued. Those are ways to do it. I would not do that, though. I would not do that because I'm putting myself in your shoes and knowing me over there, just based on what I've demonstrated on the going out to eat and all this stuff. It doesn't show the discipline and mentality necessary to fully achieve that finesse of that financial situation, of that financial plan. Yeah, sure, let's get there, but I can't in good conscience say that if you're not there now. If you were here 6 months from now and you had that finesse, then we'd be having a different conversation, but we're not. So as someone who cares about you, I can't in good conscience recommend those.
I appreciate that. Well, so can I ask you one question?
Yeah, of course.
If I were to have come here right now with this exact situation and I had already used my cash to pay that credit card off, it really just was more of a timing thing. Let's say I paid that credit card off, had no credit card payment, and let's just say I had no credit card payment at this point. You saw these purchases, but I had no credit card payment. How different of a conversation is that?
I think in that situation, you would have at least showed that you were more of a credit card person than you've demonstrated now. We would still want to attack the bad debts like the truck.
Right.
Because obviously that doesn't affect that debt, but it would have at least demonstrated that you recognize the horridness of the 25% interest rate.
Right.
But obviously that's not where we are. But
I felt both horrible and okay about what I came in here with at first because I see so many of your podcasts that so many people either spend so much more than they make and are so far in ridiculous debt that there's several year plan of paying off just the scary part, or people that make ridiculous amounts of money that still have ridiculous amounts of debt. I'm just like, whoa. I feel like at my point I got scared and worried because it's $6,000. It was ridiculous to me, yet still I've attacked it and brought it down to where it could be. So I'm trying to...
No, the fact is your debt's not even close to as bad as like many that we have on here, and you're already in a better place because you have great equity position in your house. So your overall score is going to be higher when it comes to, the score that I give out.
Right.
It's It's just following the plan to get to where I would like you to be to live that financially better life quicker. And I think the plan I laid out is the way to do that quicker. But you know, however you choose to go about it is whatever you choose. And then the life that comes from that is, you know, the life that you deal with. But this is what I think you should do.
Right. I honestly, I agree with that. I totally agree with you that this would be the most amount of discipline that I can have. If I'm going to be honest with myself, I do know that there's an amount of discipline that I don't have. I will shoot for that. Will I mess up? Probably on some amounts, but I'll also work hard.
Don't preemptive excuse yourself. We all know messes ups are going to happen. When people vocalize it, though, it's a preemptive excuse. Well, it's allowing that.
I feel like I try to be the opposite, man. I try to say that, hey, all this bad stuff will happen, and then hopefully it doesn't. And then when it doesn't, I get off in the better. You know, it's kind of like my weird reverse way of pessimism. You know, I think about, it's almost like being prepared for the bad stuff to happen, kind of, but then it doesn't, and you're okay.
Okay. The 5,500. Would you all feel comfortable living off of that 5,500?
Yeah, probably so.
5,500. So that would be $66,000 a year.
Which, if there's any employment opportunities out there, feel free to let me know. I would much rather be dealing with some people at this point.
If we could get you to $1.75 million by retirement in today's money, that is where we need to get you to in order to be able to withdraw that amount of money.
What age is that?
Well, when do you want to retire?
I don't know. It depends. It really depends, man. Retirement looks, at this point, that's one reason why I'm here. Retirement looks farther and farther away from.
That's why we want to get out of this as quick as we can so we can start investing. But I get it. Let's say
I will try as hard as I can. I'm not saying I won't. I just.
Okay, well, let's just say, just for the sake of, okay, you go about it your way, it takes a little longer. Let's just pretend 2 years before fully funded emergency fund, all that stuff. Okay, and then you all invest as a household for 30 years. If we want to get to $1 million in today's money, following the average inflation and average return of the stock market, with the initial amount of the $65,000 you already have, let's just say it goes up to $75,000 over the next couple years, just through the other things that are invested, compounding and contributing on a monthly basis.
Jeez, I forgot about one that's embarrassing.
Okay, well, before we get to that, I mean, this shows what's necessary for compound growth. Like, you would need to start investing $1,700 a month to get to that point, taking into account inflation and the average stock market return.
To get to 1.75
in today's money.
By what time?
65.
That
shows the quicker we get out of this, the more time you could take advantage of. Now you could stretch that to, maybe we retire at 70. And of course, Social Security potentially, but I don't know how reliable that is by then.
At this point, my best option would be try to find better employment, man. It's just about breaking into a different.
Dude, you guys make $100,000 a year and you have a great mortgage with that. So that is not the main issue. That is seriously not the root of the cause. But if you guys stretch it to $70,150 a month will get you to there. Of course, what that would actually look like is like close to $4 million. But that's not what it would feel like in today's money. It would feel like in today's money about $1.75 million. So do you understand the direness of what I'm talking about?
Right?
That's 70 in that case, but yes. But yes. So that's where I'm at. I think we've had a good conversation about this. I think you know where I stand. I think I know where you stand. But do you have any other questions or things you wanted to talk about?
See. Oh, I forgot about some other investments in Robinhood. I just let sit.
Oh, okay.
It's just been sitting in there. It's not very much.
How much?
A little over $1,000, of course, as well.
I would just pull that out and put it towards the truck.
Okay.
I really would. And one thing I would really, really, really think about and have a good long conversation about, maybe see family therapists about it a few times. Combine Combine everything. No more hers, no more mine. Oh, it's overcomplicating it. Have a combined household income. Have a combined household debts. Have combined household goals. Have a combined household. It's worth it.
Definitely.
Anything else?
Not yet, I guess. Not that I think of, man.
Well, you're someone I definitely really want to follow up with. So
I appreciate
we're gonna have the conversation because you're fun to talk to. You guys are very cool. Excited to see how this kid grows up.
Definitely appreciate it.
And then we'll see where you end up going from here. Yeah.
Definitely. I think so, man. I'd love to be able to follow up and maybe come back again.
Let's do it.
Something like that, man. I appreciate it.
Sounds good.
All right.
For Colby, like the cheese, his Hammer financial score, I think he was actually pretty close to what he thought. I know it was a little more competitive because I think he wanted me to agree with him. I wanted him to agree with me, and we may have not met that middle ground that was fully desired. But for my Hammer financial score for Colby, like the cheese, spending in a budget, we know part of that conversation. Come on. Spending all that money when the balance is on the 25% interest rate credit card. 1 out of 10. Debt, certainly not the worst. 3 out of 10. Retirement, it's okay, a little behind, but 6 out of 10. Emergency fund, certainly not where it needs to be, but not the worst either. 4 out of 10. Real estate, happy with that equity position. And we even talked about afterwards potential rental properties in the future. That would get him to a 10 out of 10. But for now, 7 out of 10. Really, it's the spending and the debt that brings him down. Hammer financial score, 4 out of 10. Check out the resources linked in the description below. Things like a very high yield savings account, investing just $5 in the Acorns using my link, and you get an additional $5 for free, and other resources that I either use or would use in specific situations. And don't forget to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Thanks.